Nice meeting you all. Some of you are doing college. Some of you have already completed, and one I heard ex-Capgemini also. So, keeping varied audience, I'm okay to take questions at any time. Maybe you can raise your hands or you just post your question there so that it won't disturb everyone. And I'm happy to talk about the area which you are interested in, and many of you are interested in, that how do I become a good software programmer or a career as a software professional. So that's what I want to talk about, because many would be thinking that, oh, can I be a Java programmer? Hey, can I become a testing person? So all these things are not as a single point focused area, but as a whole, we are all, you are all part of, hope you're all part of that software professional or as a career as a software engineer. That's what I'm going to talk about. Maybe I want to have a few points so that you will keep that in your mind. I'll share my screen. Please let me know how if you can see my screen. Be a software engineer. So everyone can be a software engineer. But how do you be a successful software engineer? Because people who studied computer science education, their outcome or that the target should be, or target would be a IT professional. What do you mean by IT professional? Either you have to write the code, that's how you will start your career. And going forward, you may choose some other areas, maybe specialized areas. So as while you're coming out of MCA or even BCA or BTech IT, be CSE, all are software programmers. Predominantly all are software programmers. Now, how do you become a successful software engineer? That is, for those set of people, you should become a successful software engineer. For some people, hey, I've never studied IT at all, but I want to be a software professional. I want to be a software engineer. I want to be a programmer. Then your career first point would be software engineer. People will always think, hey, I learned computer science. Will I be a right software engineer? Definitely not. Definitely not. That's what this session will make you or enlighten you or give some lights, insights about how to be the right or successful software engineer. Okay, that's what I want to start. Do you have any questions or any anything you want to understand from me, so that I will be directly talking to you or addressing your questions than what I'm interested to talk about. If you look at the day in a life, if a software programmer, if you're getting into a software engineering profession, what they usually do. So predominantly, these are the areas. One, you're going to write a program, but for what? What is the requirement? For what you're going to build? That is nothing but requirements gathering or requirements analysis. Then I understood what is the problem. I understand what is required for the customer or even for myself. I know what I want to do. Now I need to design. Or even if I need to design, okay, this is what I'm going to build. For example, I want to build an app for Swiggy. Okay, for Swiggy, because Swiggy, if I want to order, I can order only one dish or from only one restaurant. I can order. I cannot ask that particular person to combine 3 different orders, or the consumer cannot order 2 different restaurants and go and collect and come back. Can I build something that this, whatever I've mentioned, right, that is requirements. Now I have to get into the design, but before getting into the design, I need to plan. I need to at least think about what is that? What are the various things I need to do for this? That is nothing but planning. So the design involves planning also. And then you get into the real design. Then, okay, I started designing. Design includes not only you call out what is the architectural design, even it is a programming is also part of your design. I purposefully put design instead of execution or instead of writing program. Okay. So you design, and then why I will come back to that particular point, why I put that as a design. Then people will start doing the testing, because whatever you built, you are going to test it, and then you are going to deploy it. Deploy in the sense, go and implement it. Okay, you're implementing it, and then it started running. It is maintenance. So this is how the normal or 80% of an IT organization, the programming professionals will work. Maybe on all of this, or on few of this, or at least in one of these. That's how the life of a software professional or life of a programmer will be having in day out. Now you may ask the question, what is in it for me? Why I put the third phase is design? Because coding is nothing but an art. You are solving a problem. You have to understand what is that problem. That is stage number 1. And you have to plan to solve the problem. That's stage number 2. And the third stage is you are solving a problem. People usually start. Some of you have mentioned that, hey, I'm doing final year. How many times you had created a flowchart? Have you ever created a flowchart? Or how many times you started writing it on the paper that this is what my algorithm is going to be, this is what my design of my code would be. People will directly go and start writing it on the system, or writing it on the IDE, or whatever you call console. They will start writing the code. That's the mistake. That's why I don't want to put that stage number 3 as programming or writing a, or you can call execution, or you can write a program, or all those things. But I put it as a design. That is what will make a professional or an ordinary programmer to a successful programmer, ordinary person to a real software professional. That's what it's lagging in the organization. People will start writing the code, and then they will analyze, they will start doing it. Is it really working or not? That will come to stage number 4. By that time, your time for deployment, or the time what you planned, will completely erased. Even though you sit day and nights, you cannot complete the whole thing. That became, or that is the real reason or root cause for the failure of a programmer. So to become a software professional, you should know what is that, first of all. And then you should start honing your skill or sharpening your skill, where you lag and how do you overcome. So if you don't do the design properly, if you don't do the planning properly, the last stages like testing and deployment will become completely go haywire, which you cannot even do it. If you test it, at least you will try to do something. But if somebody else tests this, they will throw that back to you. If it comes back to you, that means you have not done your part right. Why you have not done your part? You have not understood your requirement properly. So you're going back to stage number 1. You know what is the snake and ladder game, right? You may go up, and then if it bites, if the snake bites, you will come down to the stage number 1. Can you do this mistake again and again and again? No, that's not corporates are expecting, or companies are expecting. It's not only companies. Even if you are employing somebody else to do a program, and if he delivers something which is not up to the mark, which fails in the testing, how will you treat them? That is what the software engineer or the career as a software professional you should take as a baseline in your career. I'll pause here before I get on to stage number 4 and stage number 5. Do you have any questions? Yazin, if you read those questions, because I'm not able to see that. I was emphasizing on the stage number 3. Stage number 3 is, yes, I need to design and I need to write the code. The coding and designing is not completely separate because it is coupled together. Okay. So you have designed and you are designed in the sense you have written the flow algorithm and you are writing the flow chart and you are writing the code right now. Done. Then it is getting into testing. People will always test only for happy path. 2 plus 3 equal to 5. Yeah, it comes. Okay, instead of giving 2 plus 3, if I give 2 plus minus 2, will it add properly? They won't test it, because then they will come to know, because many of you have done some of the other language, because I'm not coming inside the language right now or technology right now. Any language, you might have given a variable as integer. So are you giving only with integer? Are you testing, or are you testing with float? Or are you testing with decimals? So the testing should be 360-degree perspective. That's when you will understand where you stand for. To test like this, you should have planned properly. So the stage number 2 and stage number 4 are coupled. And stage number 2, you have to, whenever you think about planning, hey, I need to test for all these cases, all these exceptions. Then only my program will stand for various scenario when it comes to. That's what will make you as a successful or a stand-up software engineer. So if you do the stage up to 4 very well, when it gets into deployed, when it gets into the right place, when you're deploying your application, it will become flawless. If it is flawless, that maintenance and evolution will be nominal and you need not put more effort on it. And when I joined in the year 2000 or 1999-2000 time frame, my boss usually tells me that this is the only field which sells some product with some bug. This is the only field. Actually, it's true, because I am coming from aerospace background. If the flight is not flying, will they buy? Because I've been trained as a pilot, and I worked for even the organizations like HAL and ADA. We designed aircrafts. If the aircraft is not flying, will somebody buy it? That's not happening in IT field. In the IT field, we will write the program, and while after we deploy, there may be some issue. Immediately we will create some warranty period and we'll do some bug fixing, and then again we release, because all these things are happening even in your Facebook. In any of your apps, if you start you will update that app, something you will face, you may give a complaint, then they will fix it again, right? That is possible only in IT field, but that is also costing the companies. That's why if you do the stage number 1 to stage number 4 100% perfect, your deployment will go smooth and your maintenance and evolution will be nominal. Maintenance will not be there, or maintenance issues will not be there in the maintenance. That is for the organization, for the customer, but as an individual, you are a successful programmer. You are a successful software engineer, and you will stand apart compared to the complete crowd. That is what this whole software engineer is doing as a software engineer you may be doing in the organization every day in, day out. Okay, so now hope my screen is completely visible. I believe. Am I right?
Yes, sir, it is.
Sir.
Sure.
Yeah.
Now you may ask, hey, yeah, is there any question? Or you can keep yourself on mute. That will be, yeah. So now software engineer is one umbrella. Now you may ask, actually last time somebody asked, what should I learn? Do I need to learn Python or do I need to learn Java? Is it programming is better or testing is better? What is DevOps? So many questions I heard from many of the external people, and also whenever I talk to my own juniors who had been hired from various colleges joining Capgemini, they will always ask, what will I do? What should be my career? Which area I should take in? So all these things is nothing but whatever I talked about, the various SDLC life cycle of a programmer or of a program. That defines every phase would become one role. Now you can choose which role you want to play. That is also one of the things which every software engineer wanted to understand. For example, I mentioned, I need to understand what I need to build, gather the requirements. So the gather the requirements is nothing but we call that as a business analyst. Can you be a business analyst on day one? No. But some of you who joined here may work for some organization. For example, a person who may be working as a call center person in bank or a call center person in Amazon delivery. So he knows how to handle the retail area. So he knows how people will do some malpractice in the complete retail area. The banking side may know how the frauds are happening, even though he is nowhere relevant to IT. He's working just as a call center person. So he knew the area as a banking. A person who worked on Amazon may know what is retail. But while they are having that knowledge and coming over to IT industry, and if he chooses, hey, I want to be in the retail area because I can understand what the jargons they're using, what the terminologies they are using, that becomes business analyst. Because you know what it is. You know the business, not full, but at least at a level that, okay, this is what it is happening in my banking. So this is what the issue every customer is facing. Maybe a credit card authentication or credit card fraud, they may call you. Immediately you know where to lock the card. So at least you know what is banking. That will become business analyst. So that your strength is not only IT, along with that your domain, along with the area of where you have some experience. If you don't have any experience, the moment you join in the organization, you may be working in one of the projects. That project is not only Java-based development or mainframe-based development, but the development is for a customer, maybe a bank, maybe a retailer, or maybe insurance, or maybe even your logistics, a truck which takes your load from one place to another place. That also we are doing it. So it's not just the language, what you know, just you are writing the code, but you need to understand what that business want. That is one kind of role. That's business analyst. Then there's a designer role. In the previous slide, I actually combined both designer and developer. But that's what a successful programmer would be. But in some larger organizations, we segregated designer from developer because some of the requirements are huge in nature. Huge in the sense it may take 6 months to build, or sometimes even 3 years to build. So that needs a separate designer, a designer who designs at a larger level, and then all others will design, or a developer will design only his piece. So the design will try to get the complete knowledge of how to do that, and the developer will develop based on what business analyst put together and what that designer has given us a design. So that is developer. So these are the 3 roles for those area, whatever we talked about, from business analyst, who gathers the complete requirements and document it and give it in the right fashion to the designer and right fashion to the developer. So that is what it is. Now the designer is the one who gives a complete architectural diagram, which one, how it has to be, which database, where it has to access, what data, all those things come from designer. And then developer is going to write the complete code. And then the tester. The tester also starts with business analyst. He has to understand what is the business requirement this developer has written. He will write the test cases from the requirements, and then he prepare the complete test cases so that he can test what the developer gives as an output. So there is a testing as a separate role. So these 4 are different roles which we talked about. Then the 5th one is very trivial. Some people last time also asked. There is MongoDB, there is Oracle, there is SQL, there is something CouchDB, DynamoDB. There are so many databases in the world. So if I learn that, can I be a software professional? Yes. That database is required to store the data, and how it integrates with the application, that is nothing but database engineer. So you're specialized based on which area you are interested in, or which area you can specialize on your own based on the problem statement or based on the need of the organization. So these are all the things are application development roles. But when you come in, some may get an opportunity to develop new functionalities, but 50% of the people may get an opportunity to maintain the application what is being built. That's also another area which is considered as a software programmer or software engineer. It's also not an easy task. The task is the program which is written 30, 40 years before and written by a programmer who is at least 40 years experience. I'm not exaggerating. 40 years experience people are writing COBOL code even today. And those people, they are expert in coding, but that application is going to be maintained by 20-year-old person. I'm talking about 40 years experience, that is nearly 60, 65 aged person is writing a code, and that code is going to be maintained by you tomorrow. That is, your age is maybe 23, maybe 24, maybe 25. You are going to understand what he has written, and you are going to correct that if there is any issue. If there is any small enhancements you may need to make, you have to make. This is what software engineering as a career. So you can be a creative person who can be interested in the application development side, or you may be a person, I want 9-to-5 job. I need not learn, or I don't need to be very creative, but I can easily understand the problem. You can be a maintenance engineer also. So that's how the 2 segregations, one is we call that as AM, application maintenance, which is on the bottom part. The other side is application development. So these are the 2 major areas where you will work on if you are getting into a software programmer as a profession. Actually, I talked about many roles in this whole thing, but majority of the customers today is asking about, our industries are expecting full stack engineer. That's nothing but the same person should understand what is requirement, should design, should plan properly, and should develop and also test and also deploy. So if he does all these things by one single person, that is called as full stack engineer. So if you are the prime person, or you are in the hot cake in this market. People will like to who does everything, or who knows everything, or who is interested to do all these things. Our majority of our people who are coming out of the college are interested to understand, are interested to know, do only, I know only Java, I know only Python, I know only PHP, I know only MongoDB. I'm not interested to learn anything. So if you are in that fashion, you will not be a successful software engineer. So that's the underlying truth of software engineering as a career. Software engineering as a career, you can kickstart your job at one area, but you have to learn every day. You have to upskill your own area of focus every day whenever the new language comes. But you may think, if I learn one language, can I learn the other one also? Yes, that's what I talked about. All these things are basics of basic nuggets. Forget about a language, but this is what the whole software engineering as a career. And now, whether you learn Java, whether you learn Python, but the real essence is how you implement. That algorithm plays a major role. The design plays a major role than your technology, or you can call that as a language. For example, how I communicate, what I communicate is important than in which language I'm communicating. So the content is much more important than the medium of communication. So the medium of communication, whatever you do, medium of exactly the same. You are communicating to a machine in different languages. But you may write it in Java, you may write it in COBOL, you may write it in C, you may write it in C++. So whatever language you can write, but machine translates into only one language to understand, that is assembler. So the machine understands everything into, it converts everything into one understandable language by which the machine understands, that's assembler. So whatever we do today in software programming is nothing but communicating to your machine in various forms, in various styles, in various easy methods. Today, people are calling that as low code, no code. There is a new artificial intelligence, which is called as ChatGPT. Likewise, there are so many GPTs, the generalized, the trainers. So those things, AI can replace a programmer also, because it can write a program. But can it design very well like a human being? No. So a software programmer will become a successful software programmer only when he designs the right way to meet the right expectations of the customer. So that's how a software engineering as a profession will flourish, or will take you higher, while you are following all these things. To complete the discussion, before I take all the questions from you, a successful software engineer will be whatever I talked about so far. First, solve the problem. People will always think, why should I study maths? Because in engineering, even in MCA, you will undergo mathematics. Why? Because your mindset should be solving the problem. solving the problem of customer, solving the problem of the society. So you have to solve the problem first on the paper and then write the code. That is when you will become a successful software engineer. And you should make it work first. Because if you look at writing a program, the moment you write a program, even in a haphazard way, and if you get the answer, we'll feel that, wow, my program worked first. Okay, now the program is working. Can you make it right? Can I optimize it in the right way? Can I make it right is nothing but how I can make it right with all the ifs and buts and all the testing has been done. Now my program is right. Whatever may be the input, my program properly works or properly throws an error. Now it's make it right. Now, how will I make it fast? Because the fast is the prime expectation of the next generation. Think about, I'm not sure how many of you are in the age group of 20 to 30. How many of you have the patience of sitting and waiting for your screen to come up on your mobile? If you're waiting for 1 minute, will you wait and understand what is the answer for it? No. If the screen hangs before the answer comes, the screen hangs for 30 seconds, you will immediately switch over to something else. But that 30 seconds of hang happened because one of the software engineers who had not written the code in an optimal way, or who has not foreseen the environment problem or the hardcore, the environment provisioning problem, or your CPU problem. That's what it is happening in the system. It hangs, or the system, it waits for so many seconds and then it pops up with the answer. So all these things you should avoid to be the right software engineer. All these things you should speak even in your interview. Because in interview, don't think that you want to go and solve something in Java, but you start solving the problem. If you take the Hacker Ranks exam, or you take any exam, they will talk about how to solve the problem first, and then implement the solution in your code. That's how you can crack any problem. If you can crack any problem, you can crack any interview, and you can even understand the question what is being asked in the interview, and you can answer in the right fashion. So I wish you all to be the right software engineer and make the right as a successful software engineer. Over to you all if you have any questions.
Yeah, so there's one question from Divyansh. She's asking what skills we need to learn in basic to get start in any company as a software engineer.
Okay. What is actually, that's a good question, a very basic question. You're asking what language, am I right? If I hear you right, correct?
What skills we need to learn in basic to get start in any company as a software engineer? What skills?
Programming skill. So far I was talking about what is what this company is expecting. Tell me. In this organization, like a Capgemini is having 3 lakh people, 90% of people are working on programming. 90%. So if you are expecting a job, you be a programmer. Then what language you may, then next drill down question is, okay, I want to become a software programmer, but in what language? Today, any language is fine for you, but take a basic language. The basic language is maybe C++ for your object-oriented language, where you will learn what is object orientation. If you learn C++, then you will become a very good software programmer in Java, and also you can become a software programmer in any other language, whatever is coming in the new world. So, hope I answered your question. Be a software programmer. The software programmer is having all those things what I talked about. So please understand what is software programming. Yeah, go ahead.
Currently, I am fresher right now, and
Mhm.
I have to make my career in software development in testing profile. So, is this necessary to have knowledge about the Selenium? If can I start with only manual testing and all API testing?
Okay, it's a very good question. You talked about manual testing, right? What do you test? If it's a
It's
manual testing, what do you test? Tell me.
it's like website and app, but manually. It's not automated.
Correct. So why companies will hire manual testing?
Uh,
No,
for
I say I don't want to put you on the spot, but just because you answered, others also will understand. That's why I want you to speak. But you are answering very well. Please go ahead.
to check manually, and if any defect is to check manually each and every features and software of the features, and then after prepare the defect report and send it to the developer. Then developer will fix the bug.
Good answer. Good answer. Actually, you mentioned that feature by feature, you will test manually, right? Functionality.
Yes,
You will
sir.
test.
In all like blackboard, all blackboard testing is there.
Correct.
Regression, functional, and system testing also there.
Correct. But do you know the functionality of the system?
Yes, sir.
You may not, but you may not, because that's what I said, the business analyst, right?
Yes, sir.
The domain area, if you have a domain experience, like insurance experience
Okay.
or banking experience, and then you go as a manual tester, people will accept you as a manual tester because you knew the functionality better than blindly go and read what is that and testing. Because blindly read and test, machine does this.
Okay.
Automation can do. But
Okay.
unless otherwise you have an experience in the domain, what I called about as the area. If it's a retail, you should know about complete supply chain. If you have 2 years of experience in the retail area, and then you go and sell yourself, I'm a manual tester in the retail applications, people will accept you. But till then, people will think that, okay, instead of giving that to you, why can't I do it in the machine? Because you are also going to understand and do, machine also understands and do. And you are going to write the test cases, machine also does that. So machine is, or automated testing is much more powerful than fresher doing the manual testing.
Okay, sir.
And actually, because you asked this question, I will even add one more point. People are not talking about testing as an area now. Now it is called as quality engineering.
Quality analyst, yeah, quality and assurance.
Quality analyst or quality assurance, because testing is no longer required, because there are scripts, there are tools which there's a testing.
Okay, sir. And sir, this and in the testing profile, testing profile is the better career for the fresher, the looking for the SDAT program.
See, more than
what about the future about that course if pursuing software testing course? And
more than software testing, I would suggest software programming has a broader scope, because in your whole SDLC,
yes, sir.
Okay, or if you consider 1,000 FTE, 1,000 people are going to work on one project, maximum would be 300 people for testing, max. So
okay.
your area of focus is confined to that 300 only, instead of 700 remaining. So why don't you get into 700? You can easily switch to even testing, but from testing to development movement is really tough after some years. So as a fresher, I would ask everyone to start as a programmer. That will give you more opportunity, more growth than testing as an entry point, because in the whole area of focus, one area you are going to concentrate. That's all. But you may not be able to come out of it. That's why I prefer software programming as a entry point would be better for you.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir. And in the first of all, in the most of the company are the communication skills also is the very communication skills also is the very good most of the company is requirement. So
Correct.
is this necessary to have a good communications? I know it's needed, it's necessary to have good communication with the talk with the client and interact with the client and all these things. I is what about that?
See, actually, yes, but that is not the prime category. See, even in the whole assessment, if you
Yes,
know in the interview process, if you know how to answer your question in the right way, English, that's enough.
okay, okay,
Okay, not a see. Frankly speaking, I came from a rural background in Tamil Nadu, where I studied in Tamil medium.
yes, sir.
This soft skill you can build, but you should not be putting that as your major pressure to bring it down. Okay, first one, your technology. Whatever you learn, the technical thing you should be able to. First, you should understand what you have to communicate. Then watch or read some books, read some English novel books or story books, which is very interesting to you. That will give you how to communicate. That is not a major or big problem. You can do that within 2 to 3 weeks if you read even an English newspaper loud. That's enough.
Okay, okay, sir.
So taking up the last question, then we'll have a quiz session.
Sure.
Divyansh is asking how to prevent the risk of recession in our job.
Only is successful. That's what I see. If you can be an ordinary software programmer who can be replaced by a machine, or you can be an extraordinary programmer which even AI cannot replace. It's not only at your level, even at my level, at everyone's level in the organization, because everyone is dispensable. But how you are creating your unique value, that uniqueness comes from listening of requirements and coming to the designing of your application. So listening and really doing, that's where you are differentiating yourself and creating the unique value.
So
Sir,
thank you so much, sir. So we are
I
with
have
this.
one question last.
Okay.
Sure, go ahead.
Sir, I have a strong knowledge about the Java manual testing and API testing also. But how can I enroll with how can I make my career in the development team? Because I have a prior knowledge in that topic. So what skills you have to make a career in software development part also?
Maybe I didn't get your question properly, because you are Java person.
Actually,
You
I
are
have a
tester.
knowledge. Actually, I have a knowledge about the testing profile, quality analyst profile, and I want to make my career in development in the software developer. So, what skills I require to improve enhance my skills? That then we have to make up my career in software developer as a software developer.
You know Java. That's what you mentioned, right?
Yes.
Can you write a program? If there's any
Ye-
problem statement, can you write a program?
Yes, sir.
That's all. You're a software programmer.
But
If you
most of
know
the
how to write.
front end development part and back end is the more is looking for HTML, CSS, JavaScript, and React JS. But in backend, in the Java, J2EE and Servlet, and most of the different technologies required in.
Okay, see, actually, different technologies, right? That's what many of the college grads are getting confused. Actually, it is not different. Actually,
Okay.
if you take, actually, even I used to tell even my daughter also, if you learn COBOL. Okay, you go and just take the mainframe at least for a day. There is one piece called Kicks, or that is one online. There are only two different ways of writing a program. One is online programming, another is a batch programming. Online program is nothing but communicating with a human being. Okay. So you will have a screen. That screen communicates to your business logic, and the business logic creates it goes and updates in the database or give the value back to the user. That's all. This is online. And there is a batch which is not relevant to the human being. It automatically runs and automatically updates and automatically creates a report that is time-based or some even trigger-based. That's how it is. These are the only two things. If you understand this basic, now you put it onto Java world, there is a EXE.js or AngularJS instead of Kicks. There is one user interface language, but it is not a completely different language if you read it. Go and read that if you know Java and just look at your EXE.js or AngularJS. It's nothing different. The servlet, it's nothing different. This JavaScript, it is nothing different. It is all going level and level above and above and above. That's all. If you know Java, you will spend only 3 hours to learn AngularJS. And will you become an expert in AngularJS within 3 hours? No. That expertise will come only when you are practicing it in day-to-day.
Okay.
That's
and
all.
first of all, what expecting the interviewer as a fresher right now?
Actually, he will expect you to solve the problem, and he will expect, can you segregate the problem into front, actually UI part? There is a validation. Can you put that? Actually, even if he is not expecting, you should be in a position to explain it to them. Okay, this is a problem you had given. In this, these validations can happen in the UI. I can write it in EXE.js. They won't ask you to write it in EXE.js because they will expect, can you solve the problem? Are you looking at the problem as a problem and identify what the solution? That's what they will expect. That's how we usually hire people, because we are not going to take you and put you exactly in Java. Definitely not. You will undergo some more training in the organization also. Sometimes we will directly put you into something else also, some other technology also. So with all these things, you should know how to solve the problem. That's what you should exhibit in the interview.